Now let's bring in a good friend of the show, Eric Engelman from Lomac Winery. How's it going, buddy?
Real good, Chuck.
Real good to see you. Now, Lomac. Okay, everybody. You know, your brother's been making wine.
Yes.
For a while. Did you work with him?
I started out helping him make his wine. You know, when he first started, he had a budget for 2 employees, which was my dad and me.
Yeah, so
and that'd be 0.
Yeah.
So my payment was I got to learn how to make wine. That's what we did.
Your dad's been growing grapes in the valley for a long time.
Oh yeah, we're actually 4th generation. My great grandfather's place is just about 2 miles from us, where he had his vineyard. My grandfather grew up there, and we've been growing grapes for 4 generations. Yeah.
So you grew up out in this area.
Yeah.
And did you work the grape fields?
Always. That's all I've done.
I mean, really worked them?
Really worked them, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, right now I'm farming 165 acres, and I have 1 full-time guy, so it's me and him out there. We were out pruning this morning. We started a pruning crew this morning. So
how does 165 acres get done by such a skeleton crew?
That's the day-to-day farming operations the 2 of us do. Whenever pruning comes or harvest, we have to hire in some help, but for day-to-day
do you have the big machine now?
We do have the big machine for harvest, yeah, for the wine grapes and even some raisin grapes. We dry them on the vine and use that. Yeah.
No kidding.
Oh yeah.
So you guys are still doing raisins?
Yeah.
because your brother, he's kind of showed the family. Wait a minute. This wine thing can be kind of profitable.
It can be, and one thing that the valley has always done, we've grown a lot of wine grapes. We're the largest wine grape growing county in the country.
Funny when Eric, when I first moved to the valley, I'm like I was just fascinated by the grapes, and I got to know some grape farmers, but they were table grapes,
Yes.
and these guys would still make wine out of them.
Yeah, you always make it for yourself,
right,
or your friends, but
but then all of a sudden.
Yeah,
all of a sudden, the Napa and all that everyone's Sonoma that everyone's been raving on for years. Those guys up there, they're impressed by what you guys are doing.
They're starting to see it. More of these small wineries around here, and us included. We all enter these competitions, and we're starting to really hit that pretty good. We're competition now, and that's a good thing.
Did you go to school to learn how to make the wine?
No, I just learned it from helping my brother basically but I never stop learning. I'm still reading everything I can and researching everything I can all the time.
Are you putting in different kinds of grapes?
Brett and I, because our wineries are so close together, we really like to keep separate varietals. Mm-hmm. So where he's really doing like Sangioveses and some of those, I'm doing Merlot and Pinot Noirs. So that way when people do come out wine tasting in our area and go to around
variety.
There's a variety. If you go to the same winery and taste the same varieties over and over again, it gets a little old and a little boring. Mm-hmm. And then what else we're able to do is really test the market and see what kind of grapes we can really grow here. The more varieties we're trying, the more likely we are to hit on something really, really good. And
from what I've learned talking to a lot of winemakers, different grapes grow different in different regions,
Absolutely.
And it can be as close as like there's some Mariposa grapes going on up there where it cools down a little bit at night, and then here on the valley floor, the grapes that can really take a beating from the heat. Right?
Absolutely, and even the same variety, if it's grown in a different soil type, just a little bit different climate, it affects the flavor. I used to see some of these guys, they would talk about Syrah, they would, across the vineyard across the street tasted different than this one. And until we started making the wine ourselves, I really didn't appreciate how true that was. We have some rows of Syrah where we'll pick half the row and keep that separate because the other half of the row is going to taste different. Wow. It's really, really, really particular to a certain area and on the flavors.
Now, what different types of grapes will you be bringing in?
One of the what I have at Lomac, we years ago I planted, it was like 1.5 acres. We did a little experimental block, and I put 33 varieties in it. It's like 20 vines of each, just to evaluate them. But they're varieties that maybe weren't traditionally grown in this area, and we want to check them out. And the very first one that jumped up out of there was my Pinot Noir.
Mm-hmm. What kind of grapes are those?
Well, the Pinot Noir it's a light red grape, and it makes a lighter red wine. But it's always traditionally grown in a cool climate, and the valley has got the reputation of being the opposite of what a Pinot Noir needs. But it worked out really great. We expanded out the vineyard. We've done 4 vintages off it now. I love the product. It's a great grape for here. I think it's well suited to the valley.
Let's talk about the different types of wines that you do make. First off, let's go with the pretty bottle here.
Yeah.
You came out with a dessert wine?
That's our dessert wine. It's a late harvest Zinfandel.
So when you say dessert wine, we're not talking port.
Not really. People that like ports tend to like a late harvest. Port is fortified with brandy. This is just, we over-ripen it on the vine. It sets a month longer than our normal Zinfandel on the vine. Just gains more sugar. So when we ferment it, we ferment it out to a certain level. The alcohol gets so high the yeast dies off. And any sugar that's left in the juice is what's in there to sweeten it.
So is this a little stronger than a traditional
It is stronger.
wine?
This one's about 16.8% alcohol.
Whoa!
So that's a pretty
16.8%.
That one's stout. Yeah, and but it's got enough body and flavor, and even the sugar helps cover that. You never even taste the alcohol in it. It's really
so good wine for the holidays.
It's a very good wine for the holidays. It's that's a warm weather wine, or a cool weather wine, I should say.
Now, the wine you brought for me and my wife. Tell me about this beautiful bottle, and it's a 2008.
This is a
God
2008.
bless you.
Yeah, this is a blend we do. We call it Trey. It's a Cabernet Sauvignon Syrah and Zinfandel blend. It's kind of like our signature wine at Lomac. It's the one we hang our hat on. It's really smooth. If you're a cab drinker, it's on the smooth side for cabs. But when
not as dry?
Not as dry. It doesn't dry your mouth out quite as much. Some of those cabs are pretty aggressive on flavors. They punch you in the mouth a little bit. This one's really
it's designed to keep you going like this.
Yeah. You got to cover the next one up. Yeah. This one's really smooth, and when we do these blends, we're able to really affect the whole tasting process. And this one, the cab really gets you right away as soon as you start tasting it. And sometimes cabs, you taste them, and there's a whole lot there, and they disappear.
Right.
This thing, the Syrah, you'll taste the cab, and then the Syrah kind of carries that mid-taste. And
what's your dad think about you and Brett changing your vocabulary and getting all this stuff going? The end goes away.
Well, our vocabulary has improved, and it's probably something more appropriate to put on TV.
All right, now the Pinot. This over here.
This is the one we shouldn't be making here, and I grow right behind the winery.
Why shouldn't you be making it here?
Because it's a cold climate grape. We should not grow it in a hot valley like this. It's and what happens is this Pinot is not going to be the same Pinot that you're going to get in Monterey, but it is going to be a terrific Pinot for the valley. So it's a great wine. It's just not going to be the exact same flavor of Monterey, and the Monterey isn't going to be the same as a Sonoma Pinot. They're all different.
Okay, so interesting here. You get people from around here that do the wine tasting tours a lot. Do you get people from the north?
I do. Yeah. And what's funny? It's the people that come in from the north are very often in the production side of winemaking. They're down here scouting it out.
Are they looking to say, wait a minute?
Right now, I think it's kind of a curiosity to them. But once they show up and they don't just visit my place, they visit a number of them, and I think they're starting to see there's some serious quality wines coming out of the valley. And maybe we're getting their attention. That's good.
The wine tasting tour. The west side of Fresno's getting strong.
We have, there's 6 wineries there within 4 miles of us. We all do weekend wine tasting every Saturday and Sunday, 12 to 5.
How busy you get?
Depending, it's seasonal, but right now with Christmas, it's pretty busy. I had somebody in Saturday. They came in and tasted, and I'm just thinking, they're out tasting, having a good time, and buy their bottle or two. No, they bought 2 cases, and they said, we're done with Christmas. It's over. This is it.
There you go. There you go, right there.
That was the best. I got to think that's the most enjoyable Christmas shopping experience you're going to have, is sitting in the tasting room.
You got anything going on out there this weekend?
I got the next 2 weekends we're running our Christmas specials, and I'm just announcing them here for your viewers. So you got 2 weekends to come out wine tasting. These 3 wines are all 25% off. Anybody who mentions seeing me on the show, and
25%
25% off, yeah. And if you really seriously can't make it on the weekend, give me a call. I'll try to get off the tractor and meet you up there at the winery. So,
anything new coming up for 2015 for Lomac?
Yeah, we're coming up with a few new varieties. We just bottled a new Merlot and our 2013 Pinot Noir. So those will probably be released late spring. And then we're working on a Moscato that should be out within a couple of months. I'm shooting for Valentine's weekend. So
Eric Engelman, always good to see you, buddy. Thanks for coming by. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back on The Buzz. Stick around.